Hi, good afternoon. My name is Marlene Nava. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for about 13 years, and I've submitted this video as part of the requirements for the application. Since my first year of teaching, I found out that data is extremely important to address the needs of students in a better way. I do get data from different resources. We have in our district, we have plenty of programs and platforms that gives us data. We have computer lab, we have Zern, we have uh, 6 weeks exams, we have a lot of opportunities for us to collect data. And what this does, allows us to see what the students know and how they perform and how we can address that in a better way. We also have access to the data from the previous year. In my case, I teach first grade, so it's very easy for me to log in to these platforms and look at how the students perform in kinder and see what they have already mastered and what they're still lacking. So in that way, I'm not going to be teaching them again a skill that they have already mastered. Instead, I want to work on the skills that they're lacking, on what they're needing. Also, I use this data to group students in a better way. Uh, for example, if I bring my small group, because I do work in small groups, I don't want to have, you know, there is a variety of levels in one group, because what's going to happen while I'm trying to address the students who are still, getting to a getting to their level, or like their the ones that are behind. What's going to happen to the students who already mastered this skill? They're going to get bored and they're not going to be learning as much. So once I have my data, I'm able to group students in a better way. I also use it for to communicate to parents. Data is extremely important. That way I can show parents their progress and what's expected from that student to 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 what kind of growth I expect from them. Also, student accountability. Once I show him, we create these graphs of like they color their graph of their score or how many points they have or how they perform. So what I'm trying to create is a visual for them to try to move higher or like to see the goal that they're trying to achieve. So once I collect data, we create this graphs. Then I have individual conferences with students where they can see exactly where they're at and where I want them to be and by when. We create a timeline for the goal of the 6 weeks or semester. So data, it is extremely important. I'm a driven, and I'm also going to be talking to you about classroom management. I strongly believe that a well-managed classroom is a perfect environment for learning to happen. There are so many components of classroom management, and if they're well applied, that makes uh, better relationships among students, student teacher, teacher student, and everything just works out perfectly if the classroom or the teacher has good classroom management. Goals of classroom management include maintain an organized learning space, promotes student engagement, encourages positive behavior, and it supports academic success. Some of the common challenges when we don't have classroom management is disruptive behavior. A student who is not behaving is not learning. A student who is disrupting others is not letting the other students learn. Lack of motivation. They are not motivated to learn because they don't know how to behave, or if you're just constantly like calling their name, like they're not motivated to do the lesson or to do the the activities that are being in place. It targets diverse learning needs, and it helps with time management issues. The less issues in the classroom, the better you can manage your time. This is the system that I have in place. With my system, I put all my students in numbers. They each have a number, and I have a little magnet. That way, I don't show the names. Instead, I have numbers, and they're always ready to learn. This is where they start their day, always ready to learn. Now, uh, as you can see, they can either move down and think about it, move down and do what the teacher's choice is, or the last consequence is parent contact. But not only they can move down, they can also move up. They can have a great day, a great job, an outstanding. So they're not always going down. But if I see that something, they're doing something really, really good, they can also move up, and that helps them get motivated. If you have clear expectations, consistency, mutual respect, and positive reinforcement, the students respond better to your classroom management system. Preventative strategies. If you establish classroom rules together, first days of school, they are willing to follow those rules that they created or that we create together, rather than you just presenting your rules and expectations and saying, okay, this is it, this is what I need from you all. Actually, on Monday, it's our first day of school, and we are preparing, or we will be making our own rules together. Okay, of course, something that is manageable and what it's ideal for our classroom to have. And they have to sign a contract saying that they will follow the rules and what the consequences will be if they don't follow the rules. Use sitting arrangement strategically. This is super important. Of course, if I have a student that requires extra attention, I'm gonna have proximity. I'm gonna have them close here. If two students are very talkative, I'm not going to have them together. So sitting arrangement helps you, if it's used with strategically, helps you reduce the problems with classroom management. Um, Plan engaging lessons. The more engaging the lesson is, the more the student will be motivated to do the lesson and participate. And all right, positive reinforcement. It could be as easy as just verbal praise. Hey, you're doing a good job, or I like the way so and so is following the rules. I love the way so and so is being respectful and participating. It can also be a reward system. 3 stickers and you get a prize. You get a coupon. You get no homework for today. Um, and also celebrating small wins is very, very important. Even if it's something small, even if it's a student who, and of course, as I was saying, celebrating small wins, even if a student is not the best behaved student, right? But if he's doing something good today, it's important to celebrate those small wins. To say, hey, I really like the way you are doing this today. I really appreciate the way you're respecting others today. You're following rule number 3. That's amazing. So it's part of positive reinforcement to keep them motivated, of course. Classroom routines. Routines are extremely, extremely important. Once they learn the routine, they just, class just flows, okay? What I do, I have bells. First bell means everyone stand up, get ready. Second bell, everyone either go line up. We're going to lunch, we're going to computer lab, we're going to specials, or second bell is time to transition to a different subject, different centers. But once they learn the routine, everything just gets easier because they already know what to do. They just need, they hear your instructions and they know what to do. Um, like I said, start of class procedures. Like, what do I do as soon as we get there? What do I do? Where do I put my backpack? where do I get my breakfast from? And it just facilitates and makes class a lot easier, and they are better prepared. Also, end of class wrap ups. What's expected at the end of the day? I expect them to clean their desk, to have everything, to put away their computers, to charge the computers. Is just a routine, just facilitates so much the daily routine in class. Culturally response management, respect diversity in the classroom. They have to learn to be respectful among each other. Like I said, better student to student relationship, student to teacher relationship, teacher to student relationships. Inclusive participation methods. Everyone has the right to participate. And technology and classroom management. I also use Class Dojo, which is a great way to communicate with parents and to give them. I can give them points. I can give them a little prizes when they meet certain points. So technology implementation, it's a great way to help classroom management. And to avoid distractions or interruptions during class, I have this other system where they use their hands, their fingers, to let me know what they need. If they do one finger up, I know that they need to drink water. If they use two fingers up, they need a pencil. Three fingers up, bathroom break. Four fingers up, a tissue. And if they have a question that it's related to what we're learning about, they just raise their hand, and I know we can communicate without interruptions. So that's my classroom management system. I also have, as a leader here in my campus, I'm part of the SBDM group, where we make decisions about the campus, about what the campus needs for improvements. I was named Teacher of the Year 2013-2014. It was a great honor to represent my campus as Teacher of the Year at the district level. I'm also part of the LPAC. I help with the bilingual students, the decisions. We get together, we meet, and we discuss what is the best decision for the students, for the bilingual students. So that's my presentation for today. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for your time, and I hope to join the program and continue to grow as a teacher, as an educator, and hopefully one day as an administrator. Thank you.
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, November the 17th, 2020. Welcome to Miss Nava's reading class. Today, boys and girls, we are going to ask the weekly question. We're going to go over comparing across text. Unit theme, I spy. Okay, boys and girls, so let's go ahead and take a look at page 194. And it says, look at each text. Find a picture that shows a living thing, grows and changes. Write the page number of the picture. So, boys and girls, we are going to find a picture that shows a living thing. First of all, what is a living thing? A living thing is something that needs water and needs food. It grows and it reproduces. Remember when we talked about the frog and how they grow, how they're living things, the baby animals, the sunflower, it's also a living thing, and of course people, right? So let's see, boys and girls. Week 1, the life of a frog. Okay, so look at the frog. Of course, a frog is a living thing. In its water, in its food, it reproduces. We saw how they lay their eggs, and then they go through a long cycle until they become adult frogs, and then they go back to the pond to lay their own eggs, right? Example of change. Let's look at your book, boys and girls. Let's find an example of change. Okay, so on page 29, boys and girls. So page 29, they're showing you how the frog changes from an egg to a small tadpole. So that's an example of a change, right? That will be on page 29. We're gonna write it down right here. 29 on page 29. You can pause this video and go to page 29 so that you can observe how a frog changes from an egg to a tadpole. Now let's look at week 2. Week 2, we read the life cycle of a sunflower. You remember that? Okay, so we are going to find, and my tool is just not working. Okay, we're gonna find how the sunflower changes. Go to your book, find your page. Let's find page. Okay, there it is. Page 67, boys and girls. We're gonna go ahead and write it down. Page 67. On page 67, we observe how the seed changes from a seed when it sprouts. It changes, right? That means that it's a living thing, and it's water, and it's food, and it's nutrients from the soil. And then, boys and girls, it can change and it can grow. So it is definitely a living thing, right? Good job. And my tool is just a little stuck here. Okay, boys and girls, go to page 195. Page 195, the next thing that we see changing is the baby animals. How do baby animals grow? Well, they change from being babies. When they become adults, they don't look the same, they don't eat the same, and they don't have the same needs, right? For example, the penguin. When the penguin is a baby, it needs the mother and the father to provide food for the penguin. But once it becomes an adult, they can go out and find their own food, right? Let's go to week 4. The long sleep changes. So what is changing there? What's exactly changing in the long sleep and changes? Very good, boys and girls. Animals change according to the season of the year. So if, let's talk about the bear. What happens during fall, during autumn? The bear has to work really, really hard to be ready for hibernation. And what happens once winter gets here? The bear goes to sleep, boys and girls. Why? Because there's not enough food outside for the bear to eat. So the bear stores as much food as possible and then goes to a long, long nap. The last text we read, it was a drama. A drama has characters, it has setting, and it also has something called dialogue, which is the parts that the characters are speaking, what they're saying, right? Well, think about it. What is changing in bigger shoes for the big race? The birds are changing. They don't look the same, right? They are growing. That's why they need bigger shoes, because they're growing. Now they're not as small. Now they're not babies. So they need new shoes. Alright, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow.